Today I'm going to show you guys how to start adding dimension, which means shading, highlights, shadows to the 3 layers of mountains that you had collaged in the background of your project. So as you can see, I've already completed probably about half of my mountains, and I'm going to show you exactly how I did this using different colored oil pastels. So at this point, I've used a couple different techniques in my artwork. I've used hatching for my field, scumbling for my sky, and then I'm starting to use a little bit of a blending technique in my mountains. You can use whatever you feel most comfortable with. What I started with first was my first layer of mountains, which is the red ones, okay? And it's okay if you end up coloring on top of the haystack because you are going to end up collaging on top of that. So I'm taking a darker red and I'm kind of trying to stay in the family of colors that I am using for my mountains, which were warm colors. So I'm trying to stick to kind of that warmer reds, oranges, yellows for my mountains. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start adding a couple extra lines, extra shapes, maybe to kind of make the outline of trees or extra hills, just like that, okay? My haystack is right here, so that's why I left a little empty space. I have a lighter kind of reddish orange that I'm gonna use in here. So I'm blending, and you'll still see some of the construction paper underneath. That's completely fine. And I'm gonna use a pink next, just because it's gonna start to make this look like it has some highlights and shadows to it. Like there's a lighter part of the mountain, darker parts of the mountain. And I'm kind of just scribbling in where I want those colors to go. Now the last color that I'm gonna use to make this look even lighter, I've got this peachy color that's even lighter. And do you see how that makes it look even more three-dimensional? It looks like it's going from dark to light. And then where the mountains overlap, maybe I'll add a little bit more. Perfect. All right, so the next thing I'm gonna do is a little bit confusing at first to some people, but you'll notice that in my project I used a little bit of blue, and I wanna tie that into the mountains. So I'm gonna actually take a little bit of the blue that I used, okay, in the landscape, and I'm just gonna add a couple little lines of that here, just because it's gonna help tie the whole thing together. It's gonna make it look like one whole piece instead of kind of these separate warm colors in the mountains. And the nice thing about this dark blue is that it also adds a little bit of shadow to the mountains themselves. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use my orange, or maybe my darker orange, to outline my next layer of mountains. And again, I'm trying to kind of stick to that family of warmer colors to blend these in. And I'll use my peach color here. Yeah, that looks really nice. Just like that. So I would do that for these. And after I am done with that, I'll complete my last layer of mountains, which is my yellow. I'm gonna use a little bit of a darker kind of yellow-orange here to blend that out. And I'm really using this peach color a lot. So if I was using cooler colors with this, instead of warm colors, you would wanna look at maybe your lighter blue as one of your lighter colors, or using even some white, the lighter green, if you were using warm colors. Since I use cool colors, or warm colors, it would look a little weird if I started going in with cool colors on top of this. I am just adding that little bit of blue here and there, just so it looks like the whole thing ties together, but it would look kind of weird if I went in with purples and greens instead of my warm colors. So I'm gonna finish these last mountains, and that is how you start adding dimension to your mountains.